Hi and welcome to another art class with Wilna, and today I'm going to show the process of an art journal page. And I'm very excited to do this, and I created it with my new illustrations that you can see there. And you know what, this month I've just been working a lot with polka dots, and I think it's a lovely complement to the illustrations that I created. And I'm just starting off with some leftover pieces of paper, and I'm just Mod Podging them on my art journal, in my art journal, I should say rather. And I did prep the pages with gesso. So you can see I'm leaving quite a big gap in the middle, just because I've found that when you close the book, then the papers, if you Mod Podge them like that, they turn up. So I'm just leaving a little gap. So I'm adding some Mod Podge on top of my paper as well, so it's nice and flat. And when you use gesso to prep your page, it really forms a little barrier between, what you do on your page and the paper. So it's quite nice. So my gesso is actually still a little wet, and I'm just dipping into the green paint that I used on the pages. And I will, if you haven't watched last week's page, the scrapbook page, you can just click on, the video and watch it. But that's the green that I use. And now I'm just painting very lightly with a brush, just adding some watercolor and splatter. And honestly, when you and some water spritzing. Honestly, when you start the art journal journey, I should say, I have a workshop that I just talk about starting points. And it doesn't really matter what you do. The first couple of layers is just to start, just to get the white of the page gone, So now it's a little drier, and I'm going to start adding more layers. And that's the whole thing about art journaling. It's not really about the final product. It's about the journey to get there and the joy of experimenting and working it until it works, So here I have the illustrations, and I'm deciding where to add those, because for me, placing my illustrations first tells me a little bit of the way the page should go. So that's just a little, insight into my workings. But always except sometimes, right? So I'm using a little Prussian blue that I mixed in with white, and there's the plain Prussian, and I'm just going to paint a little bit and add blue. I don't know. It's an intuitive process for me. So I think probably at this stage I've just felt like it needs a little bit of blue. I love working with greens this month, and I think maybe it's because the end of summer, beginning of autumn in Canada is so green. Everything is like vividly green. It's the height of summer, For the last 2 weeks, though, it's September 8th today, the leaves started to turn. But it's only now, but the grass is still very green, and it's really pretty. Just a little bit of lime green mixed in with white. And now I'm just painting over that just to blend it a tiny bit. You can see I'm almost blending the blue in with the page. And art journaling can be incredibly frustrating as well. When at this point, usually for me personally, I'm not going to speak for you, but for me personally, at this point, I want to tear out all the hair in my head. Like, what am I doing? Where is this going? Like, it looks terrible, And then it's a good point to put down your illustration, because then it's as if the page will tell you, okay, this is where you need to take me. I don't know how to explain it, but that's probably the simplest way for me. So I'm using 2 of the sunflowers on this page, and I'm going to cut one a little, and so one will be vertical, like the one you see there, and I think the other one I'm going to place horizontally, and then I'm just going to bind them with words and with text. So I'm drying the acrylic paint, and the one lovely thing about acrylic paint is it dries quite quickly, actually. So yeah, it takes a little bit of time, but be patient. Don't be like me. Be patient. I'm not very patient. And I just felt that I need to add yellow to really make the the flower pop. And I'm going to just add a little bit of water and just let the ink flow. I used some Liquitex acrylic ink there, and just this one color, I mean, you can see how unbelievably it brightens things up. So something interesting is happening there just below on the dark blue. You can see I painted over it, and I think it's because of the Mod Podge, but the acrylic paint came away, and I just absolutely love what's happening there. And now I'm using a little brush and white, and I'm just going to paint. And just again, this is so it's mindful in a way that you are there, but you're not really overthinking it. It's just going with your gut. That's the only thing and the only way I can describe it. And that's why I really think doing art journaling is like meditation. It forces you to be present, and it forces you to listen to the innermost part of you and just to follow it intuitively. And you know what? It can be an amazing exercise in life as well, just to listen to that intuitive part of you. And in my experience, in my vast experience in life, very, very seldom has my intuitive heart been wrong. And sometimes it's just hard to obey and to listen because we don't always want to hear what our intuition is telling us. But let me tell you something. Listen to your body. Your body seldom lies to you. And if you have that gut feeling, go with it, because usually it's right, even though we don't always want to know. So that's just a little life advice for you here in the middle of painting with, with white paint. And I'm just really blending a little, working it in, and it's almost starting to come together for me. You can see I on it, and then I'm using a baby wipe, and I just thought, let me just mine what's underneath this beautiful painterly look. And how lovely is that, just with a baby wipe? And it's coming through. You can see I honored the paint drippings, painting around it rather than just over it. And I think subconsciously I'm painting there to make room for journaling. That's super important. Using my finger just to blend, because I want the polka dots to shine through, but I also want there to be a little bit of a layer on top. Okay, and it's really starting to come together for me. And now I just need one more illustration and a little bit of dark pop, and that's what the ink gives us, is that pop. And it just brings your attention to that area, and then it starts to, then your eye starts to travel, the gaze starts to travel. So I'm deciding which illustration to use, It was a little bit of a difficult choice because of the strong horizontal and the strong vertical lines that these illustrations create. And so, yeah, I think I couldn't make up my mind, so I decided, let me just make some markings. And I'm using a very small brush and that beautiful green Liquitex ink, and I'm just painting. Markings, to me, I love it because it's deliberate and it's detailed, and that is really what makes a page interesting. Is not just the happenings that happens on the pages, like the paint splatters, rubbing away parts of the paint, but it's also the deliberateness of it, and that's why I love these markings, and that's why I love doing them, because they really brings some detail into, And then I decided, what, this one will work, but I'm just going to cut it. And I'm just using a little bit of tape, double-sided tape, and I'm just going to add it. So it's almost like ending where the polka dots ends. And all of a sudden, it just worked for me personally. I just love how it came together. Just cleaning up my paint splatters from the flower. And there you go, all done. And now I'm just going to let it dry, and then I'm going to add my journaling. And here you can see the page is finished, and I added my journaling. I wrote on the pages, and you can see how the text itself just really binds the page together. It really brings it all together, and absolutely one of my favorite art journaling pages, even though I say it every single time I do an art journal page. So if you need a little bit of therapy today, if you are feeling a little bit blue, then I would really suggest you break out your art journals and make this page with me. It will be absolutely worth it. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week with another scrapbook layout. Bye bye.